Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to have some Division 18 ranked online gameplay in Season 9. We still have some Season 9 gameplay I want to upload, so I'll filter in the Season 10 gameplay where possible, and that'll be us ranking up to Division 20. In this gameplay here we're going to be using Anthony Pettis versus a Tony Ferguson who's in Division 20. Before we get into the actual breakdown of the gameplay and talking to you about my thoughts, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone that's been supporting the channel lately. Both the streams and the videos. I think over the past 28 days I've had the best engagement I've had over the course of me uploading YouTube videos, so I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone. Also, if there's any content suggestions or anything you'd like to see on the channel, please feel free to let me know. I'm going to be starting to stream more regularly. Well, try to do 2 streams a week. I streamed the past 4 days, I believe. Tried to do 2-hour long streams, but I'm going back to work now, so it will be hard to keep those up. I also have a chart on my computer with the top game positions, and it breaks down which positions I think are best, so if anyone would like to see that, I can also attach that to a video. But getting into the actual gameplay here, so it's a 5-round fight. I'm using Anthony Showtime Pettis, and Pettis, obviously, I think he's very underrated on the game. He's got a very good skill set both on the feet and on the ground, and obviously fought Tony Ferguson in real life, but coming up against Tony in the game is dreadful, to be honest with you. Most Tony players are incredibly cheesy, knee elbow spammers, but fortunately enough this opponent here didn't do any of those things, and as you can see I'm really trying to work the lead leg. It's a 5-round fight, so I need to be aware of stamina management. Of course, going into the later rounds with Tony, with the heel hook he has and all the long list of submissions Tony has on the ground, you need to keep the stamina in a relatively good position as we land the switch kick here. And using Pettis, you really want to keep it on the feet. Just so versatile, you can box with him, throw leg kicks, Muay Thai combination, kickboxing combinations. So it's wherever you feel comfortable you can take the fight. Obviously right now I'm looking to play to my opponent's weaknesses, which is leg health and body health primarily, trying to keep it at a kicking range. Obviously Tony, I believe, is the rangier fighter, and as you see he's throwing that Yair Rodriguez, the upwards elbow, so I've got to be careful with that. But the main thing is I'm trying to pick my opponent apart. I'm being very patient, don't want to use too much stamina, and if the fight goes onto the ground I've got to be very, very cautious. Obviously my opponent here is a Division 20 player. That shows that my opponent obviously knows what they're doing to a certain degree, but we're really doing a good job here of eating up the leg. And throughout the round, if you hadn't noticed, I've been sneaking in the body uppercuts, and that's going to do a number on my opponent's stamina. Into the final minute of the first round, it's been a pretty even round. I'd say I've had the better of the exchanges, so we land a great switch kick there. And I'm just being very cautious. The first round's the feel out round for me. Personally, I think it's the best thing to do in a 5-round fight. In a 3-round fight, not the best idea to have 1 round just to feel your opponent out. But in a 5-round fight, you can afford to lose a round. Just try to pick up on tendencies and little habits that your opponent has. And like I say each video, that's my main focus with this first round here. And there you go, there's that spinning elbow that I need to be very, very careful of, because once that starts getting implemented, it's going to cut me up. And as you can see there, my opponent was chaining it. So I'd say the first round was mine, which is a good sign, because like I said, I normally take that round off. So going into the second, I've picked up on these little habits that my opponent has, picked up on weaknesses. I know that when it comes to blocking the body, my opponent has a hard time, as you can see, really, really isolating that body. And the main reason is because you can move your head all you want, but it's very, very hard to move the body. So really trying to work the body. Obviously Tony's known for his tremendous cardio. Anthony Pettis in the most of his recent fights hasn't had the best cardio, so I was really trying to bring my opponent's body health down, zap the energy, and really work in the legs at the same time, because the more you damage the lead leg, the less power your opponent's going to have. And obviously that's a bonus, because Tony does have power. And whenever we're in this boxing range, I've got to be very careful because of the elbow attacks. Also, knees to the body will hurt, because Tony's knees and elbows are very, very good. So you really need to know the fighter's strengths that you're coming up against. And by that I mean Tony, obviously, has got the elbows and knees, and of course an excellent ground game. So you need to find a counter plan to that. And for me, it's to work the body and drain Tony's stamina, as we land a beautiful knee there. Really work on my opponent's legs. And if it goes to the ground, we need to see how good my opponent is there. My opponent's also doing these lunging attacks, which I need to be careful of, so it covers a long distance with those lunging punches. And they often catch you off guard. It was catching me off guard in this fight. I knew my opponent was going to do it, but it was just so quick to the point that it was putting me off. But I think right now I'm doing a good job of maintaining distance and really working that body. You see these kicks are starting to get more and more of a reaction out of my opponent. And I'm waiting for the takedown attempt to come. Obviously, no takedown attempt was attempted in the first round, and none this round so far. And often or not, whenever a Tony Ferguson's starting to get pieced up, they go to the ground, which is the logical thing to do. If one aspect isn't working, you need to try and mix in other areas and other forms of avenues. So it's something I'm being wary of. Also positioning myself against the fence, which against a grappler isn't the best thing to do, of course, because they can work you onto the fence, and then from there get a takedown. And as you can see, my opponent got the takedown from the clinch. I was waiting to see if my opponent was going to jump on top, which he didn't. And he opted to, go to that position, feet on hips position, and then I managed to get up. My right leg, due to the checks, is now starting to hurt, but I'm not going to let that put me off throwing leg kicks, because my lead leg's still fine. As you can see, we land a beautiful little check there. And I don't think Anthony Pettis has still checks, which against Tony, if you've got a fight that does have still checks and they start throwing leg kicks, it's extremely beneficial, because that leg health is just going to go down and down. But my head health, as you can see here, is starting to wither away slowly, and I'm being very cautious, because last time my opponent put me up against the fence like this, started throwing them spinning elbows, and they completely break your block. And my opponent tries to sneak in the head kick. As you can see, we're really just isolating the body there. So that was another interesting round. It could have gone either way due to the leg health event, but I'll give that round to my opponent. My opponent's coming out with fairly aggressive this round. As you can see, throwing a lot more strikes from the get-go, really trying to get in my face. And this was a sign to me that my opponent's obviously frustrated from the prior 2 rounds. And this is exactly what you want. You want to frustrate your opponent. You want to work them into positions they don't want to be in. And the more aggressive my opponent is, the better it is for me, because it just takes one mistake. They have no stamina, and it could be lights out, as we dodged the teep kick there. And whenever your opponent goes for a front quick kick, if you just sway to the left or right, land a hook, it's normally going to be a stun if you have stamina. And it's just one of those things you've got to be wary of. Obviously, if they throw a roundhouse and you try to move and you get hit, you're going to be in danger. And as you can see, we end up getting stunned there. My opponent's trying to break my block, but the head movement's sufficient enough to avoid getting knocked down, which is very important. That switch kick to the body is so fast from Pettis. And throughout the rounds, you'll see I try to sneak it in where possible. I didn't want to overuse it so my opponent catches on. But it was a tool that was really working, and right now the body work is going to play dividends in the later rounds. Of course, the fighting style I'm adopting here is a 5-round fight style. I'm being very cautious. I don't mind this going to decision. I'm not overly eager to get the finish. I'm doing the groundwork now in rounds 1 to 3, so in the championship rounds. If I need to put my foot on the gas, I can do, and really look to get that finish. I want to leave myself in a position where I know my opponent's damaged, so if I do need to pursue a finish in the 4th and 5th, I can do. And one of the main factors people forget about that is stamina management. If your stamina management isn't good and you get to the 4th and 5th and you need to finish, it's going to be very unlikely that you can get it, because you throw 1 or 2 punches and you're already gassed out, you have no power in your hands, so it's just going to cause more problems for you. Hence why I'm really using my footwork, really trying to manage the stamina. Of course, I can't see my opponent's stamina level right now, but I'm 100% sure it's definitely not to this level, even with Tony's cardio. My opponent's just taken too many punches to the body. As you can see, he gets another stun, and then if you saw just for a split second there in the top left, my opponent's bar flash, which means my opponent had no stamina. And just to mitigate the pressure we was coming up against, I decided to take my opponent to the ground and see how good my opponent is on the ground here. One thing is with Tony Ferguson, of course, is the rubber guard. Once you get into that, you're in big problems if you're coming up against someone that can really utilise it correctly. So I was pre-denying that side religiously. I really didn't want to get into the rubber guard, as you can see here. And I'm just looking to control my opponent for these final 30 seconds, build up some control time. because my opponent's landed some good shots this round, and my head health's starting to take damage. And one thing with Pettis is that once he starts to get his chin hit a lot, his head health it deteriorates so quickly, and it leaves you in a bad position. That in mind, going into the 4th round, I know my opponent's stamina is not in a good position. And this game was actually on stream, and I had a couple of viewers watching, and they said they enjoyed this gameplay, hence why I'm uploading it. Now we're in the 4th and 5th rounds. Last round wasn't my greatest, but as you can see, I'm being very, very patient, and patience is the main thing you need when you're fighting someone. Even if you're getting pressured, as you can see, I'm backing towards the fence. And one thing my opponent wasn't probably doing enough is looking to initiate these grappling exchanges, maybe due to the fact that my opponent thought, because of the last round with the 2 stuns, that my head health's in a bad position, and if they press enough they could look to get the finish. But if I was in my opponent's shoes right now and I could be down 2 rounds to 1, I'd really need to secure this round. So whenever I'm backing up towards the fence like this, I'd look to clinch, and then to take me down through the clinch, or look for maybe the clinch submission, as annoying as it is. But if it's something my opponent had to do, I would have understood. And as you can see, we've got the stun, and now we're starting to tee off a bit. I know my opponent doesn't have that stamina, and that hook to the body is just doing so much damage. Now we're starting into mixing the knees, and the combinations are just more free flowing now. I've had a while to analyse how my opponent plays. The 3rd round, of course, I picked up on more habits, saw really what my opponent was trying to do with the pressurising, and this is where the leg damage is going to start to come in. And as you can see, I'm being persistent with hitting that leg, and we're really, really trying to outwork my opponent. So we get the drop here, and I don't want to be too eager. Like I said, I don't need to rush the fight. I feel comfortable on the scorecards. These knockdowns could add up to a 10-8 round, so now it's just about being patient. And obviously using Pettis, you're going to want a flashy finish, which is what I think I was looking for here, really. You see, I'm trying to manage the distance, going to the body, and this round has been a big, big round. I didn't mean to get on top here, but I thought, let me control the rest of this round, and let's see how much control time we can get, how much damage we can let off, because I know my opponent's body health's low, head health is getting low, and lead leg health is also very low. So in a very good position here. As you can see, we're pre-denying the right things, and once I get you into side control, if I get a deny or 2 and I build up that momentum, I feel very, very confident. My opponent does end up getting me to full guard here, and I'm very wary of my opponent going for a submission, which my opponent does do, but I'm confident enough in my submission defense to get out of this, and my opponent ends up denying. As you can see on the clock, there's about 50 seconds right now, so if my opponent wants to get a submission, he would have had to have gone for it there in order for it to fully play out. Most submissions take anywhere between 45 to 55 seconds, depending on who the opponent's using, of course, and how good they are at submissions, your submission defense. But in my personal experience, that's normally the time frame needed. My opponent ends up getting on top through the rubber guard. We get into sprawl, which for me is the best anti-grappling position. My opponent ends up getting up, and that's the end of that round. So a very, very dominant round for me. And going into the 5th, it's just more about if I want to finish this fight and how I want to finish it, because the finish is there for me. I don't need it because I know I'm up on the scorecards, and I tried to get flashy there. It's not the kick I wanted to go for, and we end up getting hurt. Fortunately, that head kick didn't knock us down, but this will no doubt fuel my opponent with confidence, especially after checking that leg kick. And I don't want the fight to now completely flip on its head. So as you can see, I'm backing away, trying to pick my shots again. We've been very calculated this fight, and that's one thing Pettis fighters often aren't. They're very unorthodox, same as Tony Ferguson fighters, to be honest. And we get hit with the front kick there. We're just being very careful, good head movement to get away from these punches, because my block's not in a good position. And I can't let my opponent dominate this round, because like I said, even though I've been dominating the fight, you never know what the judges are like on the game. I've seen some questionable decisions throughout the years I've been playing UFC. And yeah, I'm not trying to get a decision loss. And I know my opponent, if I was in his shoes, I'd really be pushing for a finish right now, because I think I'm down on the scorecards. But patience has been the big thing here. Really sticking to kickboxing. Really looking to work the body, work the legs. And there you go, those 2 body shots there. My opponent is really hurting. We're just draining stamina still, even at this point in the fight. Sneaking in leg kicks where possible. Go for the switch kick there, which doesn't work, which we then go for the leg kick and end up taking my opponent out. My opponent's switch stances here, which is something I noted. Again, trying to work the body, and I've noticed that my opponent keeps blocking low after these exchanges. This is something I took a note of. Beautiful knee to the body. My opponent here is just not in a great position to get the beautiful knockdown here. And I know now that the finish is bound to come anytime soon. My opponent is completely gassed and has nothing left in the tank. Get another knockdown here. You can see just outworking. My opponent has no answer. Uppercut to the body, which was a crucial part of this fight, was the uppercuts to the body, and the body work. So that was a great way to finish the fight here. Obviously respectful to my opponent. My opponent put on a good fight. But yeah, that was the performance. This game is on stream, so I hope the viewers that were there enjoyed seeing this. We're going to come to the scorecards in a minute, and you guys can see how the judges scored the fights. Like I said, if there's any video suggestions or content suggestions, please let me know in the comments below. The next video coming out after this will still be a Season 9 video. I believe it's a beautiful Corey Sandhagen KO, so look forward to seeing that. I'll try to upload twice a week and potentially stream twice a week also. Depends what days I'm available, but thank you for watching the videos, guys. Please like, comment and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time.